Hello YouTube. I would like to share another life experience which initially I overlooked because I didn't think it would be so bad. So, water in PCP air rifles. It can be devastating, but it's often overlooked. One thing's that not it won't be too bad, but believe me, first time I took apart my Marauder to put in a depinger. Modern PCP air guns don't suffer so much that, but back then, 2012, a lot of the PCP air rifles were pinging quite loudly. So I decided to make a small modification to deping. And when I took it apart, I found a lot of rust inside my inside the pressure cylinder. So I decided to fight it. Now let's talk about how this happens. So this happens because as the pressure rises, it is increasingly more difficult for for water to stay in the gaseous form inside the air. So at 200 bar, which may be, or even more, may be the pressure inside your PCP air rifle, the water in the air will start to condense, and once it's in there, there's only two ways it can come out. Either you take it apart and you dry it regularly, or if you stop inputting wet air into your cylinder, eventually, since still some water can be in gaseous form and can be shot out of your rifle, if you input drier air, then that will help to dry the air inside, the water inside, and keep it dry in the long run. So how do we achieve that? I had a hand pump, so this happened because of the hand pump. I wasn't worrying about this, and I kept on pumping my rifle, and then when I took it apart to install the rubber for deeping, I realized there was a lot of rust inside. And then I decided, I thought how this would happen, and I decided I need to do something about this. What would be the DIY approach to dehumidifying the air you input into your rifle? So the answer is silica gel. Here we have silica gel cat litter. You may have seen silica gel in other formats. Typically, hold on a second, I'll go and grab it. Typically in electronic equipment, there's little silica gel bags, and when you open them, you get either these. I don't know if I can get it to focus. You get either small round beads or clay looking like beads. Every time I get one, I open it and put it in here. When it's full, I know I can make one of my dehumidifying cartridges. So how to make such a cartridge? The goal would be to let's say modify the input to whatever your pump is, whether it be manual pump or electric pump. Modify it, remove the standard filter, and put in some kind of a tube holding mechanism, for which then you can attach one of these dehumidifying cartridges. This is what I made. It's electrical. It's PCV. I think it's PCV. I don't know. It's some plastic electrical conduit. These are fruit juice plastic bottles. I glued them at each end, and inside, easier this way, inside there is a piece of normal kitchen sponge cut out, and inside you can see the silica gel. The sponge is there just to keep it in place, so when you use it, I have arrows reminding me which way, because actually in this end I have a more complicated filter system. Damn it. Okay, never mind. I'll catch that later. So when I need to use it, I keep it closed because if you leave it open, it will tendentially dry the moisture out of the ambient air and become useless. The silica gel inside these needs to be kept in pristine condition so that it actually becomes effective. So when I need to use it, I take off the input, and the output I replace with some sort of this little sponge here and some other filter. I keep on dropping this stuff, and some other filter material down there. And I replace it with something to which I can either put a pipe. This is for my electric pump. I now have an electric pump after many years. Or if I'm using the hand pump, I have this flexible tube, and this would thread into the input of the pump. For hand pump, such a cartridge holds around 200 ml of silica gel. It'll do four pumps, four reloads for a standard PCP rifle of around 200-300 cc pressure cylinder. It might do less if you have one of those with the bulb type of pressure cylinders. They hold much more, from 300, anything between 300 and 600. You might do less with that. For the compressor, the electric pump, I have a bigger version, and I changed also the system because I couldn't get bottles to fit nicely in here. So what I did is I took these post plugs. They're actually made to fit into this. They're for 50mm pipes. This is a 50mm electrical conduit pipe. So they're made, I don't know if you can see, the first ring here is a little bit smaller and fits into the pipe directly. These two are made that they get squashed in, and it becomes very difficult to remove them. So what I do is I sandpaper down the second one, so then I can put an O-ring here, and then it would slide in, like you see here. You see that the first ring is still there and keeps it from, so you can actually grab it and pull it out, and you can see the O-ring there. Inside, same mechanism. There's a sponge inside keeping the silica gel from falling out. So when I need to use it, I pop out the input. So I'm only going to pop out one, and I have another one ready. This is just because it's got a little bit of silicone oil on it, make it nice slippery. I have one ready fitted with a tube. This would go then into the compressor input, and I put this in, and then all the air that goes into my compressor first goes through this bigger silica gel cartridge. This one holds over 300 cc. It will work for longer for the compressor. So let me close this back up again. Also, for the compressor, since you're quite easily moving a lot of air, and your cartridge will, you will be pumping up maybe small cylinders, or many rifles once you have your PCP pump. So to further alleviate the amount of abuse the silica gel inside these cartridges takes, what you can do is further reduce the humidity of the air going inside the cartridge. You can do this by using something like this. This is a metal corrugated gas pipe. For some kitchens use this kind of thing. This is very thin steel, so if the input air before going into your silica gel cartridge goes through this, and you bend it and you submerge it in your water, your cooling water for your PCP compressor. I generally put ice in there so that it can run for longer without overheating. The ice cold water will help lower the pressure, lower the temperature, and allow water to condense on the tube and not go into the cartridge. So silica gel doesn't last forever. After sometimes you use it, you will find that when you put what do you call it, the word isn't coming, the bleed valve. When you open the bleed valve, if you start feeling water, then it's time to change your cartridge, change the silica gel in your cartridge, or desiccate it. So what you do is you take the silica gel out of it, you take the lid off, take the sponge out, pour it into some sort of, I have a specific one of those throwaway aluminium pans. I emptied it in there. I put it in the oven 130 degrees centigrade, 1.5 hours or thereabouts, and it will dry your silica gel, make it in pristine condition again. Then I put it into a glass jar, like the one I showed you before. I put it away already, sorry. Let it cool down, because you can't put it 130 degrees into the plastic. It'll start melting, warping, and shrinking. I let it cool down inside the jar. I close the lid so no water gets in. As soon as it's cold enough, I just put it back in here, close it up, and it's ready to go again. So if you enjoy this kind of content, please hit a like button and maybe subscribe if you want to be notified of further videos like this. Have a nice time.